We present fast, monocular scene reconstruction with global, sparse, and local dense grids. In summary, we combine classical TSDF fusion and differentiable volume rendering to reconstruct scenes from monocular images without the use of an MLP. It is more efficient and the reconstruction quality is comparable to state-of-the-art. We first generate unscaled, dense depth priors and apply structure from motion for sparse reconstruction. They jointly define consistent scaled depth so that we can apply volumetric TSDF fusion, originally designed for RGBD, in order to obtain an initialization. We further use differentiable rendering and high-dimensional dense CRF to refine the reconstruction. There have been various studies on implicit scene reconstruction from post images. NERF and its variations focus on rendering and use density as a geometry proxy, which usually leads to unsatisfactory surface extraction. On the other hand, NUS and VOL-SDF resort to signed distance function, or SDF, to represent geometry. They achieve high-quality surface reconstruction, but tend to be slower. To speed up surface reconstruction, an intuitive approach is to exploit its spatial sparsity using hash grids. Instant NGP implements a multi-dimensional hash grid but needs MLPs to address hash collisions. Classical volumetric TSDF fusion, such as voxel hashing, supports collision-free hash grids but are specifically designed for RGBD sensors and are all outdated without differentiable rendering support. In view of this, we have developed ASH, a modern spatial hashing engine. It is fast, dynamic, collision-free, and differentiable. It can exploit surface sparsity in the 3D space and is retargetable to various modalities in surface reconstruction, including LiDAR, RGBD, and RGB, which we'll be covering today. Upon this framework, we allocate sparse voxels from RGB image priors and associate sparse voxels to rays. We then initialize plain SDF and RGB with classical TSDF fusion and optimize them directly via volume rendering. One of the major challenges is the difficulty to discover sparsity from RGB images. Previous works have attempted to learn sparsity during training via progressive pruning, but they are usually good for objects and has problems with pruning empty space within a scene. Structural motion does provide a sparse point cloud, but it can hardly help in allocating voxels due to its noise. Recently, dense learned depth have provided high-quality priors, but being unscaled, simply putting them together results in a mess. Our approach combines structure from motion with dense learned depth. It projects scale-consistent point clouds from SFM back to unscaled depth priors and produces consistent depth scales per image. This means we now have a rough RGBD estimate. As a recap, we obtain depth prior, produce consistent scales, apply volumetric fusion and volume rendering, and further refine details with 3D priors. The classical TSDF initialization part runs very fast, and it generalizes well in various scenarios including hotel, studio, bathroom, and apartment. Moreover, it is able to correctly reflect the surface sparsity in the 3D space. From the video, we are able to see a consistent integration of depth, although distortions and noise still exist. We then follow MonoSDF, the state-of-the-art, to refine the grid with color, depth, and normal rendering losses. In addition, we apply iconial loss and dense CRF losses to produce smooth yet detailed reconstruction. With a global sparse and local dense architecture without harsh collisions, we can simultaneously skip empty space and maintain detailed sampling at occupied space. We can also reduce hashmap lookup time by a hierarchical neighbor cache trick. It caches neighbors for each global grid, so for either an internal neighbor voxel lookup or an external voxel lookup, no additional hash table access is necessary. Explicit SDF's gradient computation is required for losses. Previous works computed by a two-pass autograph function, which results in a very complex computation graph. Since we do not need an MLP, an optimized kernel can handle these in a single pass, resulting in a simplified computation graph. We see a 10 times speed gain both in query benchmarking and training, and we can see qualitatively the optimization converges in only several hundred steps. In terms of accuracy, we achieve similar results to state-of-the-art. Thanks for the attention.